Yo, welcome back to the channel, guys. And in this video, we got another Space Marines 2 video. And this video is going to be going over everything you need to know about the tactical class. So, tactical class is probably one of the best classes in the game right now, in my opinion. At least in operations, it's one of the best, in my opinion. Like I said, uh, yeah. So without wasting time, let's just get straight into this and we'll talk about everything. All right, so here's tactical. My guy's looking like a baller right now, looking dope. But anyways, so I want to go over tactical class. First, we're gonna start out with the tactical class perks. Then we'll go ahead and roll over to weapons and things of that nature. So let's go ahead and start with these young perks right quick. So as you see, I didn't purchase every perk. I do have the currency for it. I have 990 right now, but some of these I just don't think it's worth it, at least for my particular playstyle. So what we're gonna do for this one is we're gonna go over the perks that we have equipped, and then we're gonna go over some alternative perks depending on what it is that you want to do or what you struggle with or don't struggle with, right? So anyways, let's start out. With our first perk, we decided to go for, since we are running the Plasma Incinerator as our main weapon, we decided to go for the Plasma Boost class perk, which increases your damage by 30% when your plasma weapon is 50% overheated. The next perk that we went with was Relentless Pursuit. So after Gunstrike, range damage increases by 25%. I want to be able to parry, you know, do a Gunstrike and then be able to just absolutely destroy that enemy with my next shot or two of my Plasma Incinerator. The next perk that we went with is Emperor's Vengeance. Now, this one is really cool, but it's a little bit wonky when it comes to using the Plasma Incinerator. So, when you kill an enemy, or when you kill a Majorus level or higher, so major anything higher than Majorus, I'll put in the top right corner real quick. You'll be able to see this little diagram that I made, so that way you guys can know what enemies are what. But so if you kill a Majorus level or higher, then you get one magazine back, like one full ramp magazine back. Now, it doesn't matter how you kill them. You can either execute them, you can kill them with your pistol, you can kill them with your melee, whatever. It doesn't matter as long as you kill them. Like, you have to kill them, not your teammates or the bots. So with this one, using it with the Plasma Incinerator, for some reason you have to pull out your pistol and kill them to get the ammo back. I guess it's because the Plasma Incinerator doesn't actually have magazines. It's all one, like, large battery thing, if you want to call it that. So I guess that's the reason why, because it doesn't give you, you know what I'm saying? So I don't really know why. It doesn't really make too much sense to keep it a stack, but pull out your pistol if you're going to use a Plasma Incinerator and kill an enemy. Majors or higher, whether, like I said, pistol, melee, execute, gun strike, doesn't matter as long as you kill it. The team perk that we went with was range damage increased by 5% for all members. The other two, I don't really, reduce the recoil. It's not really all that. And then this one is okay. Like, this one's not bad. All squad members restore 30% contested health. That one's not bad, but I want my team to be able to dish out more damage, because more damage means you won't take more damage. You won't take more damage. You deal more damage, you won't take more damage. Yeah. So anyways, that's our team perk, aligned aim. Now our gear. So the first one I went with in gear is the vital data. Now, yeah, okay, we'll talk about it in a second. Vital data. So we went with this one because scamming. Yeah, we're scamming them. We're scamming them out of their life. Scanning extremist or terminus level enemies restores your scan back to 50%. So you get a free 50% if you scan a, terminus or extremist level enemy, which is pretty dang cool, I will say. The next gear perk that we went with was precise calibration. So enemies marked with the aspect scan takes an additional 75% damage, but aspect scan radius is reduced by 25%. This one's not too bad. The 25% isn't really too noticeable unless you're trying to like mark enormous groups of enemies, but this one isn't that noticeable. Uh, it does struggle. Well, you can't really get ranged units unless you place it on top of something to get that little extra height or something like that. I mean, flying units. As you'll see, I'm gonna show a clip right now. I tried to scan that little terminus level enemy, but it just didn't reach because I had this thing on, which reduced the range and the height. So with height, all of that. So the whole circumference got reduced by 25%. So the last one in the gear perk that we went with was close targeting. So when aspect scan is on cooldown, melee damage increases by 50% against minorous enemies. So not really too beneficial, but I mean, you can kill there'll be a lot of minorous enemies, so it does help, especially if you're playing not Terminids, but you're playing the Chaos people. It definitely does help because those minorous enemies are insane. So this one is pretty cool, but you only get it when your aspect scans is on cooldown, so you don't get this one all the time. For our signature, we went ahead and went enemies marked by aspect scan cannot call for reinforcements. I absolutely love this one. Not only so let's say you're in a situation where you're surrounded, blah 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 blah, and somebody's calling reinforcements somewhere up far somewhere. You can pop your scan right on them and stop them from calling reinforcements. Sometimes reinforcements can make or break your game, and what I mean is make you fail depending on what reinforcements spawn. So having this as like a trump card or a backup is pretty freaking nice to have. That's our perks. That's what we went with. I think this setup right here is really, really, really good for pretty much everything. This is more so of a ranged build, so you can do a lot more damage with ranged weapons. I feel like that's what tactical is all about, anyways. So there we go. Now let's talk about these weapons real quick. So as we all know, the Melta rifle is cracked. As you see, mine's only the Mastercrafted. I don't have the purple or yellow, but it doesn't really matter. The Melta really does great with crowd control. It does absolutely insane at any levels. It's actually it's kind of busted if you ask me. So let's say you're running a mission where there's about to be thousands of Liners enemies. Bust out the Melta because one shot will clear them all out. Well, at least in front of you. So the Melta is actually cracked. Also, there's this thing where if you have any contested health and you shoot a group of enemies, each hit on those enemies, like each enemy that you hit will give you back health as if you're recovering your contested health. So you could take a lot of damage, have a bunch of white health, contested health, shoot one shot into a group of enemies, and be at full health again. I don't know if that's intended, but this is a good survivability weapon, especially if things are getting a little dicey. So the Melta you can't go wrong either way it goes. Now this heavy bolt rifle, not gonna lie, bolt rifles, they feel a little bit lackluster, to be honest. I want to go ahead and get this Stalker bolt rifle maxed out and test that one out. I was also testing out the bolt rifle with the grenade launcher and stuff like that. But bolt rifles, I mean, they're okay at dealing with minorous enemies, but as soon as you start getting to majors and higher, that's where this weapon starts to struggle, and that's a little unfortunate because it would be nice to be able to use a machine gun and actually do good. Our machine gun, or at least an assault rifle, the heaviest machine gun is actually busted, but not busted, but it's actually really nice. So I don't know, heavy bolt rifles or just bolt rifles in general, they're kind of mid-tier weapons. You can use them, but once you get to the harder difficulty, you will start to struggle a bit. Now, I'm hoping, as you see, I've been leveling this one up. I'm hoping that at least this beta version of the yellow one, since it has 9.5 damage, might do better, but we'll have to see. Now, the bread and butter of this class, in my personal opinion, is the Plasma Incinerator. As you see, I only have a purple one, and the video that you're going to be seeing on screen is me running the hardest difficulty with this purple one. And the damage that you do to these Majors and higher enemies is pretty freaking nice. Now, let's talk about the Plasma Incinerator real quick, because I do think if you're going to use this setup, this is probably the best weapon that you can use outside of the Melta. And you can switch between both of these, the Plasma Incinerator and the Melta, depending on what you're doing. But the Plasma Incinerator, it does amazing damage to Majoris, Majorous enemies and higher. Um, you can maybe sometimes 3-tap, 4-tap, put them into the execute state, and then obviously, like I said, with that perk that we have, you want to do the execute and pull out your pistol, go execute the enemy after you done shot, pretty much all your rounds, and then restore all your rounds again back to max. So you have infinite ammo with the Plasma Incinerator as long as, you get some kills with your sidearm, which is pretty crazy. Now I want to show you the perks that we go ahead and put on this. Obviously it's not completed, but there isn't really much that we're gonna do outside of what we have now. So let's go ahead and see. So we started out at the bottom tree with weapons cool 15% faster, just because this weapon you got about 3 shots. 3 shots, maybe 4, but fully charged shots, you got about 3 before your weapon is overheated. So we put on this weapon cool 50% faster, which it's a nice quality of life. The next one that we have, obviously because it's the next in line, is Rampage. After killing 10 enemies in rapid succession, you deal 25% more damage for 5 seconds. Pretty nice. You can shoot like 2 shots into a group of enemies, kill like a little over 10, and then start hamming on these stronger units and destroying them. The next one in line was Plasma Collector. So energy reserve of plasma weapons increased by 20%. This one is a little bit weird because if you do the execute, or you do the perk tree that we have on our character, which refills your ammo, it only gives you 130. So as you see right here, underneath our magazine, not this one. So we have 130 base. But when you put this one on, it gives you a little bit more. I think it was around 150 something. I'll show it on screen. But when you execute and you have 0, you only go back to 130, which is kind of weird. I don't understand. But also in that game, I was playing with some randoms, and one of them had the perk to give me more ammo, so we were well above 160, I believe. Anyways, so the next perk that we have is shots charge 15% faster. It's the perpetual velocity, whatever. This one's pretty nice because you can charge your shots faster and dish out damage quicker. Your DPS is increased by a lot. So that one is an amazing one. And the next one was when your health is below 30%, shots charge 25% faster. Sometimes we get actually clapped out of nowhere, and being able to charge your weapon even faster is even better. That's more DPS. We have damage from a charge shot increases by 10%, which all we're doing is charge shots. Every once in a while I'll do regular shots, but my main focus with this weapon is charge shots. And the charge shot generates 10% less heat. This one still doesn't really make too much of a difference. Okay. Because you still only get about 3 fully charged shots out of before your weapon's overheated. So there's it's alright, you know what I mean? So what we're probably gonna do next, once we get our next 4 right here, we'll probably go ahead and grab this damage radius with charge shot increased by 5%, and then we'll probably go for the venting speed for 15% cooldown. Now the ones over here just don't really seem to. I don't really care about the speed of my commoner charge shots. So the relic tier doesn't really have too great of perks. So what we're probably going to do with our next 4 is go ahead and grab down here. So increase blast radius by 5%, weapon cooldown 15%, and another blast radius by 5%. So we're gonna go down that route. And then our last one we'll probably do retaliation after perfectly timed dodge. You do actually no. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Retaliation or perfect radius, either increase radius or increase damage when you perfectly dodge. We'll see. But that's probably, well, that will be um, the end build for this weapon. I definitely recommend that you guys run this weapon. This thing is insane at all levels, so it doesn't really matter what you use. Obviously, don't take a non-upgraded white version into the hardest difficulty. I mean, you might still be able to get a little bit of damage out here and there, but just at least level it up a bit. As you see, I'm running a purple one in the hardest difficulty with no problem, still killing things pretty freaking fast. Every class is really good, but but I'll say tactical is really good for the average player. Tactical is really good for anybody really, pros to noobs. He's amazing. And let's say you're just not all that great at the game and you play tactical, at least you could scan groups of enemies for your team so that way they get bonus damage and stuff like that. So like I said, he's a DPS support. Man, user friendly, easy to get into. So I definitely recommend doing that. The perks that I chose are pretty solid. So if you want to go ahead and copy that, I would say go right on ahead. And definitely try out the Plasma Incinerator. The thing is just a monster. So anyways, guys, that's it for me. I just want to say thank you guys for watching. And hey, if you guys like it, if you guys learned anything, if you got, drop a like for your boy. Consider subscribing to the channel. It helps me out. As you see, we're growing. The channel's growing, which is pretty cool. And I really appreciate you guys for even watching the video. And yeah, that's it for me. Until next time.